Hey guys, Nick here, and welcome to the last video of 2024, which is me ranking all of my Pokemon teams that I used in 2024. This video is a little less scripted, so you're going to be seeing my cursor around. But yeah, let's get into it. So first of all, the ranking rules. We will be ranking based on a 1 out of 10 basis. If there's a tie, I will favor one team over the others. The team I rank is the team in its finalized state at the end of the playthrough, unless I feel like different members should be there. So, let's say for Legends Arceus, you have to have Palkia on your team. Well, it's not there. This Pokemon is. And finally, the ranking is based on how much I liked the team, and only that. Team playthrough, anything I want, basically, is how I rank this. So, let's get into it. So the first playthrough I did this year was Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu, but my friends decide my team. I could have had a Rattata or a Mewtwo. The team I used at the end of this was Nidoqueen, picked by my friend Ryan's friend, Growlithe, picked by my friend Liz, Clefable, picked by a good friend of mine named Breadstick, Alolan Marowak, picked by Ryan, and then Gyarados and Farfetch'd, both picked by my friend Steven, who you've seen in the Silly World videos. This team gets a 7 out of 10. I wasn't the biggest fan of this team, and as a matter of fact, a lot of these Pokemon, specifically Marowak, had some pretty big problems. Farfetch'd and Growlithe were fun to use, but certain team members had problems, and the team was mostly carried by Nidoqueen and Gyarados. Next is my insane playthrough of Pokemon Black. My final team was Emboar, Simisage, Archeops, Galvantula, Jellicent, and Shiny Audino. This team gets a 10 out of 10, easily. It has a full odds Shiny on it, along with my favorite core in Pokemon. Not core, but like my favorite type combos in Pokemon: Fire, Grass, Water, Electric, and Flying. I just like that core a lot. I don't know. And then I have the full odds Shiny Audino. Like, that's really cool. Next is Pokemon Scarlet, the final season. This was the last bit of my overarching Pokemon Scarlet series. The final team I had was Quackleval from the Scarlet playthrough and from the Teal Mask playthrough, Ogerpon from the Indigo Disc and Teal Mask, Lucario from the original playthrough, Ceruledge from the Indigo Disc, Terapagos, who I got after the Indigo Disc, and finally Meowstic, who I got at the Indigo Disc. This team gets a 9 out of 10. Originally, I would have put this as 10 out of 10, but I decided against it, since while a lot of the Pokemon here I really like, certain Pokemon I didn't like Quackleval, and honestly, even Terapagos a little bit. Although the team was very strong and very good, so I gave it a high ranking anyway. Next is Pokemon Legends Arceus, the minimum capture playthrough. This was a long one. It actually resulted in me using 3 teams. 1 to defeat Palkia, 1 to defeat Volo, and 1 to defeat Arceus. We'll be going over each team in their rankings. Starting with Palkia, the team I used was Decidueye, Staraptor, Luxray, Dusknoir, Rhyperior, and Dialga. This team gets an 8 out of 10. A lot of these Pokemon are pretty cool, but it wasn't really my choice of who to use. Next was for Volo, and the team I used here was Decidueye, Staraptor, Luxray, Machamp, Palkia, and finally Cresselia. This team gets a 5 out of 10, mostly because these Pokemon were on the team for such a short period of time that, specifically Cresselia and Machamp, it was weird. I wasn't the biggest fan of this team. Also, Volo was just too hard of a fight. And then finally is Arceus. The team I used to beat Arceus was Shiny Hisuian Lilligant, Shiny Infernape, Espeon, Goodra, specifically Hisuian Goodra, Shiny Sneasler, and finally Weavile. This team gets a 10 out of 10. with 3 shinies, I mean, come on. Not only that, I loved using Weavile in Hisuian Gudra, especially because I had the storyline of Weavile and Sneasler being, like, they were dating. That was the storyline. Next is the Pokemon BDSP playthrough where me and Ryan were storyboarding together. The team I used was Empoleon, Togekiss, who I transferred in, Lucario, who also was transferred in, Typhlosion, and Sceptile, along with Glaceon, who were, they were transferred in as well. I had to transfer in a lot of Pokemon because BDSP is weird, but regardless, this team gets an 8 out of 10. 2 of these Pokemon have kind of grown a little bit off for me, those being Typhlosion and Sceptile. Not because of the weird Typhlosion leaks, but more because Typhlosion just sucks. It's a special attacking fire type with very few special moves. And then Sceptile has a similar problem, but with Sceptile's case, its main move is a physical attack. Everyone else was really fun to use, though, so I gave it a high ranking. Next was Ryan's team, though, which was Infernape, Gliscor, Frostlass, Mamoswine, Magnezone, and Blissey. Yeah, Ryan... No, wait, this is my ranking. I ranked this team a 4 out of 10. Blissey is my least favorite Pokemon of all time, but also, this team's type coverage barely covers its weaknesses. You have an Ice type, a Ground type, and then a Ground Ice type. Mamoswine should not have been here. And then, there are several types on his team that will just decimate him, like Fire. Now, he does have, he has solutions to a lot of these type weaknesses, but they aren't very large, like the Fire weakness. You have Mamoswine and Gliscor. Mamoswine is weak to Fire, Gliscor is not, and that is your only solution. Hence, I was able to beat Ryan almost every single time. However, Ryan really liked his team, so he ranked it a 9 out of 10. Next is my Pokemon Sword and Shield Team Aura series. In this playthrough, I used Swirl the Poliwrath, Hoodie the Hatterene, Spark Surfer the Alolan Raichu, Ultra Fist the Single Strike Urshifu, Scale Claw the Dragapult, and Raikou the Lucario. This team gets a 10 out of 10, consisting of some of my favorite Team Aura Pokemon thus far, especially with their funny names. You have Swirl, Hoodie, and then you have Spark, Surfer, and Ultra Fist. It's kind of funny. Now is the Pokemon Legends Arceus series as Ghost. Ghost's final team was Wisp the Hisuian Typhlosion, Tox the Gengar, Wave Shaker the Basculegion, Malice the Hisuian Zoroark, Dreamcatcher the Lucario, and Collector the Spiritomb. This team gets a 9 out of 10. The fact is, being Ghost was super fun, and honestly, it was a really good Halloween special. Ghost is actually going to be coming back next year in the host game of Pokemon Legends Arceus to defeat Volo. And then he'll come back in Pokemon Legends ZA. But either way, this team was super fun to use. Even Malice, who's a normal type, was still able to prove useful because of its defensive typing. 9 out of 10 was an accurate statement for this team. Next is Pokemon Let's Go, but Ryan and I can only use our anime teams. My team was Pikachu, Nidoking, Machamp, Eevee, Seadra, and Dragonite. This team gets a 7 out of 10. It was mostly ranked down because I didn't like that I couldn't pick my team this time. But nonetheless, the team was very good. And now, Ryan's team. Ryan had Charizard, Poliwrath, Cubone, Electabuzz, Scyther, and Gengar. Now, this team, Ryan gave it a 9 out of 10, but I'll give this a 10 out of 10 actually. Because Ryan did something that I didn't expect, that was keeping Cubone on here instead of Chansey. Which actually was a very good decision. which I didn't expect, because Cubone was able to cover types that Chansey wouldn't have been able to, and it was just a generally really good Pokemon for setting up Stealth Rocks. So I gave him a 10 out of 10. Next is Pokemon Moon, but I can only use Island Scan Pokemon. The team I used here was Meganium, Staraptor, Typhlosion, Luxray, Gothitelle, and Aegislash. This team gets a 7 out of 10. Aegislash just isn't very good in Sun and Moon. Like, this team is very good overall. However, Luxray had a bad ability. Typhlosion just sucked for most of the playthrough, and even at the end, it wasn't that great. Aegislash couldn't have King's Shield or Sacred Sword because Sun and Moon is weird. And then Gothitelle got, like, no screen time. Meganium and Staraptor were pretty good, like, consistently, but I actually plan on doing a redemption series next year, so keep an eye out for that. Or not a series, but a redemption video, you know what I mean. Next is Pokemon Scarlet, but I'm a Dragon-type trainer. In this playthrough, I was only allowed to use Dragon Pokemon, or Dragon Terra Pokemon. My Pokemon were Dragonite, Garchomp, Hydreigon, Kommo-o, Lycanroc, and Baxcalibur. Lycanroc was shiny, and it had a Dragon-type Terra. And it actually looked really cool. If you haven't checked that out, I recommend it. It's the longest series this year, but go check it out. I rank this team a 10 out of 10. Not just because it was really powerful, but because it wasn't. The team, overall, very good, but very weak. If you look at the type table, this team is actually very weak to a lot of types, specifically Ice. 4 times weak to Ice, 4 times weak to Ice, 2 times weak to Ice, good against Ice, neutral against Ice, super effective against Ice. And then you have types like Fighting. Takes super effective damage, takes super effective damage, takes super effective damage. You see the problem? A lot of the team members, while very powerful, were just not that great for the overall challenge because they were just, they were going to get overshadowed by their typing. But this also provided a very nice challenge, hence the 10 out of 10 ranking. I really liked that I was able to be challenged in this playthrough. But the early parts of this playthrough were also pretty rough. Hence, you should go check this out. Finally is the last playthrough I did this year, which was Pokemon Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl, but I can only use early route Pokemon. My final team going into the Cynthia battle was Staraptor, Luxray, Gyarados, Golem, Machamp, and Roserade. This team, unfortunately, while it was very good and very helpful to defeat Cynthia, I only gave it a 6 out of 10. Hear me out. I used Staraptor just recently back in the Staraptor and Luxray, by the way. Just recently in the other playthrough, the Island Scan playthrough. I used Gyarados at the beginning of the year, and it just kind of destroyed everything. And then I used Machamp in the anime teams video. The only 2 unique team members to this team were Golem and Roserade. And I was kind of just... I looked at this team, and I just couldn't rank it that high. Very good team, but I just couldn't rank it that high. Hence the 6 out of 10. Now for some extra little statistics like repeat Pokemon. I used 2 Gyarados, 2 Kommo-o, 2 Dragonites, 3 Staraptors, 3 Machamps, 3 Typhlosions, 3 Luxrays, and 4 Lucarios. No problem with the Lucarios, but 3 Staraptors and Luxrays was kind of a lot. I was also taken aback by the 3 Machamps. That, I haven't looked at this in a minute. That knocked me off my feet a little bit. Next is all of the shiny Pokemon I got this year. I got the Full Odd Shiny Audino, Shiny Lilligant, Shiny Infernape, Shiny Sneasler, and Shiny Lycanroc. Now, the best one, obviously, was the shiny Autono because it was a full odd shiny in black and white, which had odds of like 1 in 8,000. But next is some extra fun stats. I used 17 fighting types, and then my least used type was Bug with only Galvantula. Pseudo legendaries used was 8, mostly used in the Dragon type playthrough. Legendaries used was 6. I cannot remember all of them, but I used 6. As for regional variants, I used 7, which was a lot of fun. Starters used, I used 11, discluding Eevee. Not including Eevee or its evolutions because it's a little weird. And then finally, transferred Pokemon used was 6, and dragons used, which includes Pokemon in the Dragon Egg group, is 13. Now on to the full-on rankings. Oh wait, no, some extra stuff. Ryan and I shared 3 Pokemon in all of our playthroughs. We used Gengar, Poliwrath, and Infernape. The Sneasler and Weavile was just a fun thing. And then I only used 2 unevolved Pokemon, those being Growlithe and Eevee. The strongest Pokemon this year was by far the Garchomp from the Dragon type playthrough because it's a Garchomp. It actually served me well the entire playthrough and was the only Pokemon to do so. Now, as for the rankings, the team I used to fight Volo is in last place. Next is the team I used to fight Cynthia in the early route Pokemon video. Then for the 7 out of 10s, we have the anime team, the picked by my friends team, and then the island scan team. As for the 8 out of 10s, we have the Pokemon I used to fight Palkia, the storyboarding team, and that's it. I favored the storyboarding team because it had fun starters on it, along with just some of my favorite Pokemon to use in a Sinnoh playthrough. Next, we have the 9 out of 10s, which consists of the Scarlet Final Season and Ghosts playthrough. Now, I had to favor Ghosts playthrough because I was kind of done with that Scarlet series, personally. It was just not fun anymore, so I favored the Ghost playthrough. Finally are the 10 out of 10s. I ranked Dragon Trainer as lowest, and then Team Aura, and then finally... Oh, wait, no, there's more. Minimum Capture, because that I just had a lot more time with this team. I just grew super attached to it. And then finally, the Unova team. Because obviously full odd shiny. I mean, come on, what do you expect from me? Thank you guys for watching all my Pokemon content this year. If you enjoyed it, remember to like, comment, subscribe, turn on notifications, share this video with everyone you know and love, and I hope to see you guys next year in 2025. Bye!